Hi there, I'm Peter, Managing Director of Glass Curtain. We're a Canadian manufacturer of fiberglass framed curtain wall systems for triple glazed applications. And today we're going to talk about embodied carbon. Embodied carbon is, of course, the amount of carbon used to manufacture the various building products that we use in our buildings. Embodied carbon is of increasing concern as the operational carbon impact of our buildings continues to decrease with more and more stringent energy codes. As building envelopes get thicker and higher performance to adapt to stringent new energy codes, and our operational carbon impact reduces, over the coming decades, it will actually be the manufacturing of building materials that represents the overwhelming majority of carbon impact in our built environment. If we look at something like Passive House, we would think that we are reducing our environmental impact in terms of carbon by having thicker walls, better windows, better roofs, and better insulation of the envelope. But that is not always the case. There is really no silver bullet when it comes to reducing our environmental impact. So when we look at conventional buildings with R20 walls, R2 windows, double glazed, we see that the relative overall proportion of the pie is overwhelmingly from the operational side in terms of carbon impact. But when we go to a high performance building, one with R40 walls and R6 glazing or R7 glazing or better, we see that now the building is performing so well from an operational perspective that the majority of the carbon impact is actually from the embodied side and really in the manufacturing of those materials. That's what we need to focus on next. And as we focus on materials, we look at some of the standard ones in our industry, particularly as they pertain to framing materials and exterior materials, and aluminum. We see that aluminum is on there. Aluminum has been used, sort of in huge quantities since the 1950s, in the post-war era, the sort of modern era. And if we look at the sort of manufacturing of that material, we see that it has a tremendously high embodied impact, upwards of 8.24 kilograms of carbon dioxide per kilogram. And if we look at something like glass, including fiberglass, which is more than half glass, we see that it has an embodied carbon impact of only 0.85 kilograms of carbon per kilogram of material. That's about a tenth as much. So by changing this one material, we can sort of reduce our impact by 90%, just comparing glass to aluminum. And yet, even when we do use aluminum, the payback period for high performance facades, so call it again those R40 walls, maybe 5 curtain wall systems or window systems, we still have a payback period of a little over a decade. This research is from Arup, or Arup, A-R-U-P, and this shows that there's really a good incentive to upgrade to a high performance facade. The payback period is well within reason for institutional owners, or owner occupants of designers, or sort of owners of new buildings. A decade-ish. We can shorten this even further if we're using fiberglass or more glass rather, and less aluminum. So if we could bring this into 6, 7, 8 years, that's a really compelling case for owners and operators. And for those owners and operators who really are looking to reduce their overall carbon impact, not just on the operational side, but also on the embodied side, they're going to want to know where can they get the best bang for their buck. And it turns out that the top 2 places are this light blue area, which is floor framing here in the second column, and the second thing is windows. So first thing, floor framing. Imagine, not an expert in floor framing, but I imagine it's the amount of concrete that's really being used there. Windows, of course, that's where we can speak in a more educated way about that on this video at least. And that is really, improving the carbon impact mostly in the framing. Adding a third layer of glass does obviously increase the carbon embodied in a window system or a curtain wall system. But that dramatic reduction we saw earlier, going from aluminum to fiberglass, really more than compensates for that additional layer of glass. How much does it actually compensate when you weigh in all the factors of more glazing and different kind of framing and this and that? Well, we went to the Athena Institute for Sustainable Materials to ask them exactly that. And believe it or not, long before life cycle impacts were a buzzword, you might say, in 2009, we went to Athena Institute and we found that our fiberglass framed curtain wall systems, our glass curtain, therm systems, all of them have 60% less embodied carbon than conventional aluminum frame systems. You know, we were expecting a little bit, but less than half of the embodied carbon impact in the manufacturing of our fiberglass framed triple glazed curtain wall systems relative to aluminum frame systems that you're conventionally using. That is a dramatic difference. So not only are you doubling or even tripling the thermal performance on the operational side, reducing your operational carbon impact, but the embodied carbon impact of therm systems is dramatically reduced as well. And what does this 60% reduction in embodied carbon mean for architects and designers on a practical level? Well, the new LEED v4 system, for example, in their materials and resources credits, look specifically at the embodied impact of materials for the first time. This is only in the last couple of years. And we expect that there will be more and more focus on this embodied impact going forward in basically everything. I mean, even the city of Vancouver now requires life cycle assessments for rezoning applications. Passive House Institute is also talking about implementing and incorporating life cycle impacts into their assessments as well. So we're going to be seeing a lot more of this in the years to come. As well we should. This is a very important part of our environmental sustainability objectives. That's all for now. Feel free to follow us on Instagram and Twitter @GlassCurtain or on our website for our updated blogs and newsletters. The links for all of this will be in the description below. Thanks very much. We'll see you next time.